Okay, now before we get into this video, I just want to say, everyone is allowed an opinion. If I'm allowed to like a game, you're allowed to not like that same game, and vice versa. Now that we got that out of the way, we all have our unpopular opinions. Whether it be you like White Castle, or pineapple pizza, we all have our opinions that differ from what most people have. And, of course, video games. I have a list in the works of the top 10, like the opposite of this one, but these are the top 10 loved games that I hate. Now, I want to make a little disclaimer. I don't hate all these games, it was easier to title it that. These are games that get praise, and maybe I'll understand why they're praised, but like, I don't agree. Or maybe I don't understand, as you'll see with some of these. Now, before we get started, you know what to do. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell and leave a comment, or I will waterboard you.
I wanted to give to you, the last part of your notes here, the significance spiritually of the number 10 in the Bible.
I fucking love Mario Kart, and despite what I'm about to say after this, I don't really think there is an outright bad Mario Kart game, at least on its own merits. But I never understood why Mario Kart 64 is held in such high regard. Many people see Mario Kart 64 as the best Mario Kart, and has aged like fine wine, and I don't get it. This game doesn't necessarily look all that great, even for the N64. I guess that can slide because the N64 was a weird time for video game graphics, but I feel like there isn't really anything that stands out about 64. Many people seem to like it because it's pure, but it's a little too pure. Hell, Mario Kart DS is my favorite in the franchise, and that game is so incredibly pure. I guess Mario Kart 64 was more pure, as it was just one of the earlier entries in the franchise, but I still don't think it has held up as well as many say it is. Like, really, you think Mario Kart peaked with this, the second game, when they were still kind of trying to figure it out? Like, the franchise really did evolve so much from this. I don't see how this is the peak. I used to have a series on this channel called Hidden Gems. It was actually a very frequent series where I'd take games that, you know, were really good but didn't get the recognition they deserved, and I'll make a video about them. I'd stop making those videos because, well, they didn't really fit my current style of videos. But why am I talking about that? Seems pretty random. Well, as I was making those videos, I would constantly look for games that are criminally underplayed and overlooked and qualified as a hidden gem. And I found one with Star Wars Bounty Hunter. It seemed interesting, so I got it on the PS Store, and it's not good. In fact, I'd honestly say it is very rough. The concept of playing a Star Wars game as a bounty hunter, such as Jango Fett, and doing some cool bounty hunter things sounds really awesome, and Star Wars Bounty Hunter for many people seems to be the game where you can do that. But the whole game just feels so clunky. Never when I'm playing the game do I ever feel like I'm doing cool bounty hunter stuff. It never feels right, and even the camera controls make no goddamn sense. I'm happy for the people who like this game and found a hidden gem, but I just don't see it. Guess it's still hidden.
So I'm going to be giving this flavor 8.5 out of 10 scoops.
Paperboy, a game seen as a classic the world over for some reason. Okay, the reason this game is not higher is because a lot of people seem to have realized how much this game sucks over the years, but I don't really ever see why this game was ever considered a classic in the first place. First off, you take the role of a paperboy delivering newspaper. Not only is that like the most boring job ever, aside from maybe working at the DMV, but that's beyond the point. But they don't do anything with it in this game. Sure, there are some crazy enemies, but they are just annoying and honestly obstructing. They honestly make the game feel nearly unplayable. Like, this game fucking hates you, and it's not looked at as one such game. Seriously, while not as unforgiving, I'm not joking, Paperboy should be thrown in a similar boat as I Want to Be the Guy of the game. Like, it's like that. It's unforgiving. Paperboy is repetitive, frustrating, and honestly obnoxious. Seriously, if Paperboy was a person, a real person, it would be someone nobody would ever want to hang out with. I hope that made sense, because this game fucking doesn't.
36.
Very close, but that's not it. Let's go to Gary the Retard. What number between 2 and 4?
7.
I don't really talk about Final Fantasy as much as I talk about other franchises I love, but Final Fantasy is awesome. Especially 6, 7, 8, and 7 Remake are some of my favorites of the franchise, and I'm even looking forward to playing Final Fantasy 14. You know, I'm gonna get around to doing that at some point, and that's kind of the kind of game I'm not much of a fan of. Oh yeah, and Final Fantasy 9 also exists. Now don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy 9 is not a bad game. In fact, I'd say on like a technical and gameplay standpoint, it's a fairly solid game, but it was never really a game I ever understood. I've spent hours into this game because I wanted to see what the hype was about, and I just don't see it. This game never really stuck with me like how the other Final Fantasy games did. I legit can't even remember the name of the main protagonist, or really anyone aside from Black Mage, and I refuse to look it up because, well, I mean, I just don't feel like it. But also, it's just not a memorable game to me. No memorable characters aside from Black Mage, like I mentioned. Nothing too memorable in the story. Final Fantasy IX is not a bad game by any means, and is certainly not even the worst Final Fantasy game, but it's seen as a classic and a high point of the franchise, and I can't say I share that sentiment. That being said, I will buy that rumored remake, because I am interested to see how they change the game up.
Okay, Mrs. Puff, what's my final score?
6.
Woo!
I love the Sega Genesis, and I'm sure Sega does too, because they love re-releasing their games, of course. And they also love re-releasing Echo the Dolphin, which is considered a classic, which I never understood. Hey guys, have you ever wanted to play the worst level of, I don't know, every single 2D platformer ever, but as its own game? I guess for those of you who said yes, Echo the Dolphin is for you, but I never understood it. Echo the Dolphin certainly isn't offensive or anything, but it's just bland. There is really nothing to this game, or games, cause yeah, it's an entire franchise for some reason. Echo the Dolphin, Echo the Tides of Time, Echo Jr., Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, Echo the Dolphin, who gives a shit already. None of these games are really anything to write home about, and they are just extended water levels, which again are the levels in every 2D platformer nobody likes. It's the original that is considered a classic, but again, why? There is really nothing to this game, and it's in pretty much every single Genesis collection. Can someone tell me why?
Oh, chills. Literal chills.
It was number 5. Number 5 killed my brother.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Now this one is a little bit tricky, as I really do see why people like this game, and I can totally see where it's good, but let me explain. I personally believe that most games from the PS1 and N64 have aged like dog shit today. It's no wonder you see indie games with NES or SNES art styles, but never N64 or PS1. And yeah, that's because most games from that time have aged poorly, whether it be visually, mechanically, or both. And I feel this is no more apparent than with the original Resident Evil. This game does get some rightful praise, as it is a very important game, but I'm gonna say something that I don't really think is a hot take as much as it is something I feel people don't want to admit. If you try playing the original Resident Evil today, this game sucks. Resident Evil has aged worse than those fucking crows in Dumbo. What else can I say? I actually, can't play this game. It's frustrating to control, and the worst part is, this game has been getting re-released more than the other classic ones, I feel. On the PS Plus premium thing where Sony forgot to put more PS1 games on there. Sony, can you guys wake up? This game was added. Not 2, not 3, which I feel have aged quite better. Still not aging the best, but they've aged fine enough to where I don't want to call them bad. If you want to play the first Resident Evil, play the remake. Do not touch this game. This upcoming entry is a bit tough as it's more an entire franchise, and that entire franchise is Assassin's Creed. And by the way, I wrote this before that entire Assassin's Creed blowout with all the new games announced happened. So yeah, I understand Assassin's Creed is on a lot of people's minds right now, but sorry. Now, obviously, I can't say the entire franchise. Assassin's Creed 2, 3, and Black Flag are all decent. And I've never played Odyssey, but it kind of looks cool. But everything else is just boring. I'm not stuck in the early 2010s, where Assassin's Creed was getting milked and got a new entry every single year, and people got sick of the franchise, and, you know, like franchises like Call of Duty, it was very popular hate on it. I never really liked Assassin's Creed. When the best this franchise got, one of the most prominent and frequent video game franchises, if it peaks with 3 games that are all just decent, it belongs on this list. For me. I gotta specify. For me. If it peaks for me like that. I never really explained why I don't like Assassin's Creed. Well, again, it's just boring. I feel like each game is the same stealth game, but you're just in a different time period. And I never gave too much of a shit about the story. Altair, Ezio, Edward Kenway, they're all the same fucking character to me. But the weird thing is, Assassin's Creed is kind of like the spiritual successor to Prince of Persia, and I like those games. Did I just invalidate everything I just said? I guess Assassin's Creed just never clicked with me. One of my favorite video game franchises is Mega Man. So many of these games are just phenomenal, and I'll come to the defense of many of them, even ones that most people don't like. But I'll also, weirdly enough, have some negative hot takes on others. For example, of the numbered entries from 1 to 11, the first Mega Man is the worst one. Mega Man Star Force is kind of forgettable, and the ZX games never really clicked with me personally. But I don't hate any of those games. Mega Man Legends, on the other hand, I actually do not understand how you can like this franchise and also like this game. Mega Man Legends, the first one that is, the second one is actually pretty solid, is the kind of game I feel people should be saying was part of the downfall of Mega Man. And it kind of was. Like, you guys do realize that the franchise for a while started to go downhill after this game. And it was very hated originally, but I guess people have grown to like this game. Like I've been saying for this entire video, more power to you. But the camera controls make this game uncomfortable. The gameplay is very off. The bad voice acting was funny in Mega Man 8, but now it's just not funny anymore in this game. And the settings in this game feel like they should be nowhere near this franchise, to the point where it, again, is not funny, and it looks completely out of place. Mega Man Legends is one of those games that people have come around to as of late, but, I mean, you guys were right before.
Pencil do we take again?
Number 2. Take a number 2.
Looks like you took a big number 2.
One thing I kind of just noticed myself is that people hate on Kingdom Hearts, and it's a pretty fun thing to hate on, you know? And you saw the thumbnail, so you probably think I'm hopping onto that bandwagon. Well, I don't know. Should Kingdom Hearts even be on this list if it's popular pick on it? What do I even mean by Kingdom Hearts? Is it the whole franchise? Or am I literally just talking about the first Kingdom Hearts game? No, I'm not talking about that one. Well, here is what I have to say. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are the best Kingdom Hearts games. Okay, let me rephrase that, because that's not that unpopular. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are the only good Kingdom Hearts games. I appreciate Kingdom Hearts, and I admire making a pretty deep and expansive story. But it should have just been 3 games, even if the third one also isn't that good. I do not care about Melody of Memories, Chain of Memories, Coded, Recoded, 258,000 billion over 2 days, or whatever the fuck it's called. All these games are stupid. It's easy for me to say that the titles are confusing and the story is bad, but honestly, I don't think this story needs 13 fucking games. It's ridiculous enough that you want me to take a game where a dark, shadowy figure tries to intimidate fucking Mickey Mouse, seriously. But all these other spin-offs that have crucial story elements are very unnecessary, and they either suck or they are fine digital store games that get sold like they are major AAA releases. How the fuck are you gonna convince me that Melody of Memories is $60? Are you fucking insane? I'm not hating on Kingdom Hearts, because it's popular to do that. Hell, I'm weird. I say all this stuff about Kingdom Hearts, but I'm kinda interested in Kingdom Hearts 4. I can't wait to play that game in 2047, but I really feel everyone loves the first 2 games and takes all that praise and puts it on the whole franchise.
I'm Luigi, number 1.
Speaking of popular games to hate, Fortnite was a popular game to hate, but I noticed more recently it's become a cool thing to like. And you know what? I'm happy to see that people are allowed to like this game and not be called cringe for liking it. Me, on the other hand, I never really liked Fortnite. Well, I don't want to say I never liked it, because I did once like it as a nice time waster to play for a few minutes, but then I started to get bored. And that's my issue. Fortnite is boring. If you love it, great. But to me, it is a game where you drop off the battle bus, run around the battlefield, try to get kills, and then you either die or you win. And you get into another game, drop off the battle bus, run around the battlefield, try to get kills, either you die or you win, rinse and repeat. I really don't understand how you're supposed to play this game for more than 5 minutes and not get bored. But DPX, I hear you saying, you are supposed to play this game with friends. Okay, but the only difference there with friends, instead of a never-ending cycle, landing, running, shooting, and dying by yourself, you're doing it with 3 other people. If you like Fortnite, more power to you. I wish I could like the most popular game too, but to me, it's just boring. And that's why Fortnite comes in at number 1. So yeah, that was my list. I got a little feisty with some of them. I tried my best to contain myself with Fortnite because when I once shared my opinion on that game, I got a lot of shit for it. So whenever I talk about my opinion on Fortnite, it kind of like reminds me of that. But yeah, if you got offended here, just know that that wasn't my intention. I'm obviously, you know, part of me wants to start a little controversy, if you know what I mean. But at the same time, you know, I think it's interesting to hear someone's hot takes. I think it is interesting to see if someone really likes something, to see why someone else maybe doesn't like something. Maybe you notice a few things that they, or that you didn't notice before that they mentioned, and maybe not sway your opinion, but understand where they're coming from. That's why I made this video, because I just think it is an interesting thing to do. And don't go anywhere. Soon, within the next week or so, hopefully, let's hope nothing else happens, I should have a list on the flip side of this, where I do the top 10 hated games I love, where it's more hot takes, but instead of games where most people love them, but I'm in the minority where I don't like them, it's where most people hate them, but I'm in the minority where I love them, or at least don't hate them. Anyways, that was this video. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like this video, comment, subscribe, or I will waterboard you. Bye!